Hi, Tom from bknutrition.com, and in this video you're going to learn about what body parts to work out on what days in the gym to build the most muscle. Now, there is a lot of talk about what the best body part split is in bodybuilding, especially, which is where my roots were. There's all these talks about what body part to train with what body part. Does chest go with shoulders? Should you train hamstrings and quads together? All these things, and then what days to train them? Should you train chest on Monday, which is International Chest Day? Should you do legs on a day you've had a rest? All these topics come up, and it can be quite confusing when you are just starting out, or if you just want to sort of up your game a little bit and you're looking for a bit of advice, and you ask someone, oh, what's the best body part split? And they go, well, and then it's a 2-hour conversation, and you come away none the less wiser, or none the wiser, and probably a bit more confused. So what I'm going to do in this video is run through some of the best body part splits that I use with my clients to get them to build more muscle. Go through what days I program workouts with them, and also, more importantly, rather than thinking about what day to train on, how we structure our week so that we are making the most of our workouts. So let's get into it right away. The first thing about body part splits, what you have to remember is that when you talk about what is good to go together, that can actually be also a bad thing to do. So let's take an example. So when we talk about chest, a lot of people do a pull workout. They train push-pull legs. And if you don't know what push-pull legs is, push is everything you push away from you, which is chest, shoulders, and triceps. And then pull is everything, you might have guessed, that you pull towards you, which is back, biceps, and traps. Some people put rear delts with the pull exercises as well. And then you get legs, which is, unsurprisingly, leg training. So that's quite a popular 3-day split, which a lot of people use. I have that system set up in my coaching community, and a lot of people do go into that. Normally you would do push-pull legs for, I would say, about sort of 4 to 8 weeks. It's generally regarded as a strength-based training because you are doing one area of the body per week. So you're only doing push, or triceps, chest, shoulders, 1 day a week, and then you're letting the body rest for the next 6 days, and then you come back and hit it again. So the advantage of doing this split, this workout split, is that you get a lot of rest between your sets. Now that's a good thing if you're looking for rest, looking to get stronger. But if you have watched a lot of my other videos, you will know that resting a body part for 6 days is potentially not the best way to grow that body part, as in grow it muscular wise. You probably get stronger doing that, but you won't grow as much muscle. So if your target is maximal muscle, push-pull legs might be a good option for you, but it might not be the best option for you. And the way push-pull legs is organized, generally what people do, they do Monday, they do push, Wednesday they do pull, and then Friday they do legs. Or they might do Monday push, Wednesday legs, and then Friday pull. So the upper body's split over sort of 3 to 4 days rest. And then they have the weekend off. So this works well if you say you've got a very busy schedule, you haven't got a lot of time to train, but you can allocate like about an hour, or an hour and a half, I should say, 3 days a week to get into gym and really smash that. If you are going to do that, I would suggest that, unless your goal is pure strength, because push-pull legs is based on a strength training philosophy, if you're looking for more bodybuilding, you need to be doing things like supersets, drop sets, and then hitting the muscle from multiple angles. So as well as doing your main compounds where you have like bench press and the big lifts, you would then want to add in other maybe isolation exercises to really sort of hit that muscle, because you're only going to get one chance that week to hit that muscle. So if you don't do it properly, potentially not maximizing muscle growth. So that would be my advice for that one. And it is something that people use. I use myself as a break from my normal training. It's something that, say if you're looking for a deload type workout, so you're doing, like, say you're training 4 or 5 days a week normally, and then you're looking for a little bit of a rest, a little bit of a back off, that can give you those 3 days a week, so you're still maintaining your muscle mass and still hitting the gym a few times a week, but you're then you're then not doing the traditional deload thing. What bodybuilders do is they, I'm going to do a deload, and then go into the gym, I'm going to be light today, and end up smashing it, so they don't actually deload and they don't actually recover. So push-pull legs can be a good option for that. So that's a 3-day-a-week training. Then we have a 4-day-a-week training or a 5-day-a-week training. Now, I've said in other videos, I think the video previous to this one that I filmed about rest days, and rest days are really, really important. I won't go into that video. I'll link it at the end for this one so you can watch it if you want to. But I wouldn't recommend doing more than 5 days a week training because you won't have the rest. So then what we've got is we've got 4 or 5 days a week split. Now, when we talk about what body parts to work out on what days, if you've got 4 or 5 days to work out, you've got more, let's say, play with what you can combine your body parts with. So traditionally, what people do when they're bodybuilding old school, when they're training 4 days a week or even 5 days a week, what you'd get is like a chest on a Monday, obviously. Then you'd get, say, shoulders on a Tuesday, maybe a rest on a Wednesday. Thursday, you would get back. Friday, you get quads, and then Saturday you would get hamstrings, and maybe you do a little bit of arms with your upper body as well. So that'd be a 5-day split, and then a 4-day split might look like chest and shoulders, back, hamstrings, and then quads on the 4th day. So there are a few ways to split that out. Now, what you'll pick up on there, and I just talked about the push-pull legs, is that you're still only training a body part once a week, which again, we know from recent research is not the best way to train body parts. The best way to train body parts is to hit them twice a week to failure. And I'm going to come on to that in a little bit. So then you've got 5 days a week, and if you've done that, the 5-day-a-week split I just mentioned, you're still only hitting that body part once a week. But what happens is that because you only got 1 day to train one body part, you really smash it. So with push-pull legs, you've got to do chest, shoulders, and triceps. So there's a sense of limitation there, unless you're going to train for like 2.5 hours, which I wouldn't recommend. You're going to have a limitation on the push-pull legs. But if you're only training one body part and you're there for an hour and a bit, then you're going to make sure you use every single machine in the gym and make sure you do all the sets and all the reps and potentially overtraining. So that's why I wouldn't recommend doing a 5-day split or even a 4-day split where it's just one body part per session, because you're not, first of all, taking advantage of the fact that you could double hit a body part in the week, and also you're potentially overtraining with the workout you're doing. Okay, so that's that out of the way. What can we do with 4 or 5 days a week split? Well, there's a few things you can do here. Remember I talked at the beginning about how chest and shoulders was a popular way to combine, but also might be detrimental. Now, the reason why it's a popular way to combine and why it might be beneficial is the fact that the body parts are located together, as in the chest is obviously here and the shoulders are here. So they're very, very close proximity and located next to each other. So if you're doing, say, chest, you've already got blood in the chest area from the training. So moving on to shoulders after that keeps all that blood in one area and potentially gives you more pump, more energy, and I'm getting really pumped, I feel like I'm doing well. And they both complement each other, because things that you use for chest, such as anterior delt here, will also be used for shoulder exercises, and also your triceps will be involved in all those pushing movements. So that's why people do push-pull legs, because it's all involved together. So as in they do a push session, which is chest, shoulders, and triceps. So when you've got all those things going together, you get quite a decent workout. You feel like you really hit the body. You're tired and everything else pumped. So it's quite a nice thing to do. However, if you are doing one body part then another, and they're located together, as in on the body located nearby, and they use similar muscle groups, what you've then got is that once you've done all your chest stuff and you go onto your shoulders, your triceps are fatigued, your shoulders are slightly fatigued because you've used some of those muscles in the chest workout. So when you come into your shoulders, you're potentially not able to hit as much as you can in that workout because you've already pre-fatigued them. And then when you come on to triceps at the end, you've done a load of pressing and a load more pressing because you've done chest and shoulders, and then you're doing triceps. So the triceps are already pre-fatigued, and then you're hitting them again with more work. With more work. So potentially they're not going to be as strong. So the sort of the detriment or the limit there is that the first body part you train in that combination is always going to be the strongest, and the second and third are going to be weaker, as in your output might be weaker because you've used glycogen from that area. You're pre-fatigued, your muscles are tired. And and then obviously you haven't got as much to push in them. So what does that mean? Potentially you're not optimizing your muscle building. So that's not good, is it? And the same goes for back and biceps. A lot of biceps are involved a lot in back exercises. A lot of people use biceps more than they should, because when they're doing their rows, they're actually rowing with their arms and not their rear delts and their lats. But I'll come on to that in another video, because that's another rabbit warren to go down, or rabbit hole to go down. So a lot of people they use their biceps too much when they're rowing. And a lot of people use their triceps a lot when they're doing pressing as well, more than they should be doing. But again, that's another video. So so when you come around to doing back and then you do traps afterwards, your traps already pre-fatigued, especially if you're doing like things like deadlifts and like high pulls and that sort of thing. So potentially your traps aren't going to get as much work, and your biceps aren't going to get as much work because they've been involved in all the pulling. And then when you come on to legs, if you do a leg workout, say you're doing like quads and hamstrings together, you're always going to have the most energy for the first body part you train. And hamstrings are involved in stabilizing on quad exercises, and quads can be involved in stabilizing on hamstring exercises. So potentially, although they're not directly involved, if you're doing squats, say, you will hit the hamstrings and the quads in both of those exercises. If you're doing deadlifts, or like Romanian deadlifts, then you will hit the quads and the glutes a little bit from stabilization. So potentially doing the quad and hamstring workout, and everybody always does quads together because hamstrings aren't very much fun to train, are they? You can't see them, you can't really feel a pump or anything else, and they hurt a lot when you train them properly, because they're a tough exercise, tough body part to train. So most people do quads first. And if you're a woman, you probably do glutes after that, and then do hamstrings. Sorry, not to be sexist, but that's what a lot of what I see. Hamstrings are a secondary concern for a lot of people. So then you've got the fact that your hamstrings aren't as fully developed as your quads or your glutes. So what you end up with is a misbalance. And if you're a physique athlete looking to get on stage, that's not good. But also, if you've got weak hamstrings, that affects things like your back workouts and all the other things. You want your body to be growing all of it at the same time as maximally as possible. So there's the issue with training body parts that are located together. Yeah, they might complement each other in terms of you're getting a lot of blood in that area and you get a lot of focus in that area. But on the negative side of things, you're potentially pre-exhausting and weakening the second body part, so you can't get the most out of it. So this is why I program a lot of workouts. I do program body parts together, of course, because there's benefits there. But I also program body parts which are totally, you wouldn't think about doing them by themselves. So let's talk about, say, I do things like quads and chest together. Okay, that doesn't make sense because quads are down there and chest is up here. So how would that help? Well, if you do a load of chest exercises and you've maxed out your bench press, you hit some heavy stuff there, and then you're thinking about, right, I'm going to do some quads now. Your quads have not been involved whatsoever in that workout, apart from walking around the gym, and hopefully you don't get too tired from doing that. So when you're coming on to doing your squats, you can very quickly get a decent level of squat workout out and not be overly tired like you would have seen doing, say, quads after hamstrings or whatever. So the idea there is, yeah, the blood's going up and down, so it's going to different parts of the body. But what you're getting there is glycogen has not been used in the quads in all of the chest session. So when you come to your quads, you're fresh. You can really smash that. Now, you might be a little bit fatigued from because it's the second half of the workout, for example. But in terms of how much energy you've potentially got in your legs to perform that workout, you've got it all. So when you come into that workout, you go, right, I'm going to smash out my chest, I'm going to smash out my quads, and you get a really good workout. And when you come out, what don't get is like, oh, absolutely, if you go to a leg workout, for example, do quads and hamstrings together and calves, and then you walk out and like, oh, gee, that really hurts, I'm going to be sore for a couple of days. If you're only doing, say, 3 to 4 sets on quads and 3 to 4 sets on chest, that's enough to stimulate muscle failure, but not enough to push you into that I can't walk the next day scenario. So that's the reason why I program a lot of workouts which are, you would think, are completely weird combinations. So we do things like back and quads, we do things like quads and shoulders, we do things like chest and hamstrings. All these things just sound weird, but they really work. The other side of things, the other way you can combine body parts is to go opposites. So we've talked about quads and hamstrings, which they might be detrimental and they might be beneficial. They're obviously opposite. If you are going to do that, make sure you have one day we do quads first and hamstrings second, and then another day is hamstrings first, then quads second. So you are getting the maximum out of that. When you do upper body, you can do, say, chest and back together. That works really well. You generally don't use your back when you're doing chest exercises apart from, say, stabilization. So you're going to get a decent lift out of there. What I would say is if you are going to do chest and back together and you're going to do deadlifts and things like heavy bench press, you're in for a pretty serious ride there. So make sure you've got pre-fuel in, so you load it up with a few carbohydrates, potentially got some caffeine on hand to give you a pre-workout stim, and make sure you're properly hydrated, because that workout is one of my favorites to do, is to do back and chest together. It really does smash the body and leaves you with a really good sense of I've done some work here. But it is tough, it is grueling. So it's not about what body parts you train on what days. It's not about the body parts you combine, because both can be detrimental, both can be beneficial. Then we come on to the days that you're going to train. Now, a lot of people say, oh yeah, what should I train on Monday? What should I train on Tuesday, for example? And of course, everybody trains chest on Monday because everybody does that. It's International Chest Day, isn't it? Personally, when I was bodybuilding, I trained legs on Monday. And the reason I trained legs on Monday was because no one trained legs on Monday. Whenever I went to my gym, before I opened my own gym, whenever I went to my gym on Mondays, everyone was there smashing out chest and a bit of shoulders. And all the leg kit was free, so I could really get involved onto the leg kit and get a really good workout in there. The other thing was that my legs needed growth; they needed to be brought up because my upper body was very good and my legs were good but not as good. So I prioritized my leg training on Monday when I'd had at least 1 or 2 days rest from the weekend and I was coming in completely fresh. And this is the way you should think about your workouts. It's not, oh, Tuesday is back day. It's not Thursday is quad day or anything like that. What it is what am I trying to accomplish? What are my goals at the moment? Am I trying to build more arms? Am I trying to build more shoulders? Am I trying to build more quads? Whatever you're trying to build at the moment, that's what you put on the first day of the week after you've had 1 or 2 days rest. And the reason is, you might have guessed, you're coming into it fresh, ready to go. And providing you're not doing chest, you're probably going to get the run of the gym so that you can do whatever you want to do. I always prioritize body parts, and what I did was change it around every couple of weeks. So, for example, I was focusing on legs for a long while, and then because my legs got brought up, I did a lot of volume training on legs, really smashed it and brought it up. After I did that, my legs were in a good position, so I had the luxury there of being able to optimize a different body part every couple of weeks because I was quite balanced. So what I did was I said, right, Tuesday. For 2 days of the month, I'm going to prioritize, say, back. So I come in and do back first thing. And then I would make sure I gave myself a couple of days rest before I came in and hit back again for another little workout. So back then, this was a long time ago. The research hadn't been done yet on training twice a week. Some bodybuilders did it, some didn't. If you look at the people who were around at that time, it was people like Dorian and Ronnie and Flex Wheeler and all those other people. And they generally just train one body part per week. So that was how people train. That's how people thought the best way of training was. Now it's more, well, if you can hit a body part twice a week, then you're going to get better results. Now, some people did toy with doing body parts twice a week. So say if they had a weak body part, they would do, let's say it's quads, they do quads on Monday and then quads again on Thursday to bring it up. Some people trained arms a couple of days a week, calves a couple of days a week, that sort of thing. But the main thing here was people didn't know if that was going to be beneficial or not. They just thought, well, the more the better. And this is what I want you to think about here is it's not about what more the better. Because when I say to people, oh, you need to train a body part twice a week to really maximize that, they go, right, what I'm going to do is absolutely smash my quads twice a week. No, that's not the best option, because if you do that, what happens is you can't walk for 3 or 4 days and then you can't walk for another 3 or 4 days afterwards. Remember, we don't want DOMs that cripple us. We want to have a little bit of soreness to know that we've worked out hard, but we don't want that to limit what we can do on consecutive body part days. So when I talk about training twice a week, what I'm talking about is doing a decent quad session, quads again, for example, on a Monday. And then on Thursday, we would do another body part, such as, say, chest or back. And then we would combine, at the end of that, a couple of sets on quads. So we would do, like, say, 3 or 4 sets on squats. We would go to failure and make it like a reasonably heavy lift for about 10 to 12 reps. And we go to failure on that, and then that would be enough. Because that second failure signal in the week tops up what we'd sent earlier in the week, which is our main workout. And this is the way I program most of my bodybuilding workouts now for my clients. And this is the way that people do gain the maximum amount of muscle the fastest, in my experience, working with people doing that way, where we have one day where we focus really on hitting a body part, and then come back a couple of days later and then just literally give that body part a little bit of a touch up so that we get into failure but not demolishing it. That way, I found, gives the most benefit in terms of muscle growth, and I can combine that with a 4 or 5 day workout split. So you're probably thinking, well, that's a bit confusing. What do I actually train? So there's no clear answer here. But what you can do, if you're so minded, and this is what I did basically when I was constructing these workouts, I would put up a spreadsheet or a piece of paper, and I'd draw some diagrams on there. So I'd have like 4 days a week, and then I'd have it over, say, a month, so 4 weeks. And then what I would do is I would put in, say, quads on a Monday, and then come back and do quads on a Thursday, and go through and fill in all the body parts until I'd got a basically an evenly split plan where I was hitting a body part, I would say 3 out of 4 weeks, twice a week, because sometimes the maths doesn't work well. So 3 out of 4 weeks of the month, I was hitting a body part twice. But over the course of the average of all of that, most body parts would get a 3 or 4, twice a week, 3 or 4 days of the week, depending on what I was working on at the time. And then all you need to do then is think about, well, what workouts, what exercise I'm going to put in there. And you don't need to really overthink this. Now, I'm going to talk about this in another video about what is the optimal way to build a workout. But at a basic level, some sort of compound, some sort of volume work, some sort of isolation, and something maybe as a warm-up exercise. That's really about it. 4 exercises. Now, don't think too much about, what is an isolation exercise? Because leg extensions is a classic isolation exercise for quads, isn't it? It's not a mass builder, although you do see people doing stupid amount of weight on it and just wrecking their knees and smashing the equipment up, especially in my gym. Some people seem to think that leg extension is the thing they need to smash down the loudest, but they've got the smallest legs, so go figure that. So when you look at like things like obviously isolation, so like leg extension is obviously an isolation, but leg press can be something you can warm up with. It can be something you can do volume with. It can be something you can do heavy weight with, depending on how you program that exercise. Now remember, if you've watched some of my other videos, you would have seen that I talk about when you walk into an exercise and then even walk into a workout, you have a plan and you know exactly what you're trying to accomplish with that workout, be it strength, hypertrophy, whatever. And when you go into your exercises, you know exactly what you're trying to do with each exercise. So if you're doing like smashed out loads of heavy squats, going and doing maximally trying to smash out loads of heavy leg press is potentially not going to be the best thing, because you're going to be pre-fatigued from squats. But what you can do is drop the weight slightly and then go for more volume, so you can get more weight, some more reps out, and trigger the muscle stimulus in a different way. And then you can do some leg extensions, for example. So that's just one way you could potentially construct a quad workout, for example. I would stick to probably about 3 to 4 exercises per body part, and then try and stack in another body part on the end of that. And say if you're doing chest, you might do like cable crossovers, bench press, some dips for volume, and maybe something at the end if you wanted to do that, say pec deck or something. Very easy. Again, you're thinking about the exercises you're using, what you're trying to accomplish there. Bit of volume, bit of strength, bit of isolation, and then there's your workout. It's not brain surgery. You don't need to really overthink this. And I must stress this enough. It's like, see people in the gym doing all these weird stuff with cables and really slow and controlled contractions and everything else. And a lot of them just would really benefit from just smashing out some heavy rows or some heavy press or something like that, instead of doing that over-complicated isolation stuff. There is a place for it, yeah. You see a lot of pro bodybuilders doing that, but bear in mind they've built their physique and their foundation with heavy compounds. There's not one bodybuilder I can think of who hasn't done that to build their physique, and now what they're doing is in the refinement stage of it. If you're focusing on refinement before you've got the mass, you just will not get that mass. Okay, so I'm going to cut it there because that's about 25 minutes. Hope this video has been informative. Hope you got something from it. If you want to see how I program these workouts, because I've talked a lot of talk here, then if you go to my website, bknutrition/vitamin T, you can actually download about 8 of my workouts for free and use it in my coaching app for free for about 10 days. Or you can go to my Facebook group, which is... it's Vitamin C Facebook group on Facebook, obviously. You'll need to type in Vitamin C in the search, because I think the actual name is like Hybrid Vitamin T or something like that. But anyway, find that Facebook group, join, and all the links to get all my free stuff is in there, and that'll help you get started. And that'll give you some idea about how you should be programming your workouts and how you should be constructing your workouts. There's a few different options in there, all of them covering all the things I've mentioned in this video. So it's there to help you, it's there to give you some ideas, give you some new stimulus and excitement for your workouts. So hope that was helpful, hope you got something from that. If you did, please like the video, and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to me, because it does make me feel great when I see loads of new subscribers and people liking the video. And if you have a comment, drop it down below and I will reply, normally within a couple of days, once I see the notification, and I'll get right back to you. Okay, thanks for watching, appreciate your time as always, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.